Like global music icons Sting, Beyonce or Prince, one word, one name in the motorsport world says all you need to know. Indy. Yes, we are here. We are back at the most famous racetrack in the world for a fabulous NASCAR IndyCar crossover weekend, and it all begins now with the NTT IndyCar Series. Welcome to IndyCar Live, presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Whenever you think about the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, you think big, speed, history, legends who have experienced victory at the famed Brickyard. Scott Dixon.
That was awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Well done today.
Joseph Newgarden.
Pumped to be up here. I've always wanted to get up here.
Rena BK.
Yeah! Yeah!
Will Power.
Finally!
Colton Herter.
You nailed it. This is my most fun win ever.
Alexander Rossi.
I'm happy to come back in Indianapolis. This is pretty amazing.
Alex Palou.
Yes! Good job, boys.
This is the greatest racetrack in the world. Magic is made here at Indianapolis.
Speaking of titles, what about Scott Dixon? He's got 6 championships, but today, another special accomplishment as far as numbers are involved, and we're going to tell you more about that when we come back here at the Brickyard. Scott Dixon on your screen creates some IndyCar history today. It is his 319th consecutive start. This goes back almost 20 years. The Iceman, it maybe is the new Iron Man, because that's a record that's going to be broken when he takes the green flag. He breaks the tie he has with Tony Kanaan. Let's talk to the driver of the PNC Bank Honda.
Let's see if we can get him here. Hey, Scott, it's Townsend up in the NBC booth. You got me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, you're still at it. We battled it out over 23 years ago, but this is 319 consecutive starts for you. Lee Diffie just called you the icy Iron Man now. How have you done it? How have you stayed in the cockpit this long?
Just plain and simple, man. I love racing, and I get to work with the best of the business. You know, this team has achieved a lot and have so many of them to thank for what we've done. But I just plain and simple love racing, man.
Good stuff. Now that red number 12's right behind you. He was coming at you at Mid-Ohio not too long ago after a unfortunate situation. How hard of a time do you think Team Penske is going to give you, the Chip Ganassi Racing Team, today?
They're one of the best in the business as well. We know they'll always be tough no matter where anybody's starting. So it's going to be an interesting day, man. It was interesting qualifying for a lot of people. Field's a bit strange, but yeah, 12's always strong, man. We'll see.
Well, you always find a way. Thank you very much. Congratulations on the achievement.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
43-year-old father of 3 is ageless and just has an abundance of energy. His skill level is through the roof. He starts from 15th today. He's a winner on the road course here back in 2020. We'll see what this historic 319th consecutive race can do for Scott Dixon. It's an all-Rahal Letterman Lanigan front row with Graham Rahal leading the field to green for the first time in 6 years in front of a huge NASCAR audience as well. The NASCAR crossover weekend, Xfinity race coming up later this afternoon, and the Cup race tomorrow. What a fabulous celebration of the sport we love here at the world's most famous racetrack. They come through the final turn for the 85-lap race. That is the Gallagher Grand Prix, with the Indy-based Rahal Letterman Lanigan squad leading them to green. Turn 1 is always a chaos point. Let's go racing in Indy. This is the Gallagher Grand Prix, and Graham Rahal with a great start. Lundgaard is being challenged on the inside.
3 behind, 3 wide. You see both McLarens. Now 4 wide. Devlin DeFrancesco, baby, all the way to the lead from his career best start. He's side by side with Rahal, and Dev takes the point.
Unbelievable. This driver has never qualified in the top 6. He's never even had a sniff of a podium, and he is so hungry to go to the front. DeFrancesco leads as 2 Arrow McLarens slide around behind.
Oh, Will Power got airborne in that black and red Verizon Chevy. He shortcut the chicane there. DeFrancesco in this turquoise and pink Trubar Honda for Andretti Steinbrenner.
That is Alex Palou,
And
championship
Dixon.
leader, and his teammate Scott Dixon along with Newgarden. Oh, that's terrible for Newgarden in the championship.
Yellow flag obviously out. The number 2 up on top of the number 11 of Marcus Armstrong. You see that yellow and red DHL Honda. Roman Grosjean found reverse. He's going to be able to get back around, but so much track position loss.
I was just about to say this is exactly what Newgarden needed until it wasn't. Alex Palou had contact to the right front. An opportunity for Newgarden to gain points as the AMR safety team. Need to be careful here. They got about 1,650 pounds to get off of Marcus Armstrong's right front.
3 Ganassi cars involved in that. Palou, Dixon, Armstrong.
Unbelievable.
All teammates. Colton Herder, we saw him. He's got a flat rear on the left. We saw him in the woes a week ago in Nashville in the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix. Look up ahead. Palou, Armstrong, Dixon. Boom. So Grosjean got into Dixon a little bit, then Armstrong, and there's Joseph Newgarden on the right. This is from Joseph's Hitachi Chevrolet.
Check up.
Yeah, you could hear he was on the brakes. The engine had died. He was full locked up, I think, in the rear, just kind of blindside. His sight line was covered by the number 14 of Ferrucci.
Let's go racing. And we don't get to say this very often. It's Devlin DiFrancesco in the Andretti Steinbrenner Autosport Honda, leading the way over Graham Rahal and Pato O'Ward. Look at the challenge here on the inside from Alexander Rossi.
That's on Christian Lundgaard in the black car on the right of your screen. That blue and orange McLaren going by on the inside of the Hy-Vee Honda. Great move on that restart. Alexander Rossi on a tear.
But watch Lundgaard here. He's all over the back of Rossi. Rossi has to turn narrow there for turn 4. This might give a chance for Lundgaard to have a really good run coming to the brake zone in turn 7.
Quick ride there aboard the Hy-Vee Honda. It's getting fast and frantic. McLaughlin in that bright blue car is coming up on the back, and DiFrancesco, he's gone back another position. Rossi is the man on the move.
This is why we've been saying that the red tire probably the preferred compound, but like James said, you have to run both. How long will they keep Devlin DiFrancesco out on track when he's clearly a bit handicapped?
Here in Indy for the Gallagher Grand Prix, and yes, you're looking at the American Legion Honda of Alex Palou, the championship leader, who was in a little bit of trouble momentarily during the break. Check this out as he makes a move on Devlin DiFrancesco.
Looked pretty straightforward at first, but DiFrancesco starting to get his elbows out a little bit. I'm sure Palou is thinking to himself, I've got Newgarden down, but not out. A lap down is Newgarden. Palou could literally just cruise through the rest of this afternoon, and he just narrowly avoided a much bigger situation with car-to-car contact there. Now Palou gets past into turn 1.
As you see Joseph Newgarden ahead of him, but he's in now, guys. The leader, Graham Rahal, dives into the pits. Lap 24. That's how far he could take these alternate tires. That's a big step.
He had 2.8 seconds on his teammate Christian Lundgaard, who now goes to the front. Lundgaard will have his head down now, trying to click off the quickest laps possible.
And Graham has been so happy with his race car's pace on old tire runs. He'll get shell fuel. He'll go to a set of used primary tires for Rahal here. He goes back out.
Think about the crew on the 15, the feeling they must have servicing that car while in the lead. Awesome. They haven't experienced that in such a long time. So enjoy it. They executed brilliantly. And here comes Graham. It's a long old crawl down pit road at Indy, and you're looking for Alexander Rossi in the background. Here comes Rossi.
This could be tight-ish, maybe not. Looks like Rossi will have the point as Graham exits and accelerates.
Yeah,
it's going to be close. Here they go for the lead of the race. Alexander Rossi on hot tires, up to speed. Graham Rahal with that delicate dance.
Rossi very conservative there. I thought he'd be firing in a little bit stronger into turn 4 as Rahal looks lightning quick on the outlap. Meanwhile, Dixon had damage on lap 1, pitted. He's sort of off the strategy of the leaders, pitted on lap 5, so he will have to stop probably 2, maybe 3 more times to make it to the end.
Well, Scott Dixon finally dives for the pits.
Yeah, Dixon was hoping for some more yellow after having to pit as part of that accident that Newgarden was caught up with, so Dixon will come in, but I think he'll have to make 2 more stops to get to the end.
Kevin Lee standing by for the man who has just started his 319th consecutive IndyCar race.
Just one lone race at Milwaukee in 2004 where he crashed twice. He said, I actually was a little bit banged up. I'm not sure I could have gone, but it was time to go home for the weekend. But what a career this guy has had. And for this race today, he's got another set of sticker reds in his back pocket. These are used.
Guys, you both raced against Scott Dixon. We all know him well. But just listen to these numbers. During that streak that started when he was just 24 years old, he's now 43, he's racked up 49 wins, 121 podiums, 179 top fives, and turned more than 43,000 racing laps.
And I think what's so amazing and admirable about Scott Dixon is with the incredible success, he's the ultimate definition of just do your job. You will not see him out and about. He is not at award shows. He is not on social media. He is just about this, being the very best racing driver that he can be and gobbling up as many wins, as many championships, and as many consecutive starts as he can string together.
What a time Graham Rahal is having out front. The 34-year-old American, the son of a famous racing father. Well, now Graham is a father of two himself. His daughters have a famous dad. And Graham is enjoying life at the front of the Gallagher Grand Prix, life at the front of a race for the first time in a long time. And it is such a breath of fresh air for him. He's led 31 laps today. We're expecting him to pit any lap now.
Dylan, Graham Rahal will come. The pressure is on the crew.
It is, and you're exactly right. They wanted to make sure that the lap time didn't slow down too much with the traffic. They'll go to a set of used primaries here. This may allow them to kind of short stint this second to last stint here as they went long on this run. So Rahal's down and away.
And James, you know the feeling, the anxious moments when you're a driver and you're looking in your mirrors and you're thinking, come on, let's just be smooth. No bobbles here, guys. And they were perfect on that one.
The motto in pit stops is slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Yeah.
And so it's all you got to do is don't let the pressure of the situation get to you. The 15 crew did a phenomenal job there. It wasn't the most lightning fast stop you've ever seen, but it doesn't have to be. It just can't have any mistakes, no issues. And this is a great pit stop from the 15 crew. Now Graham just needs to put his head down. He's got lots of clear racetrack in front of him. Look at that, Townsend. He could just hammer down, head down, and try and open that gap up to Lundgaard.
And the 45 boy is going to need a perfect stop here. The blend is going to be really close. The Delta is right on the number. They'll go to a used black set here for Lundgaard. They need to wait and get the fuel in, and then we'll see where he blends when he pulls out.
That fueler was shaking his head like it was taking him a little longer. Here comes Graham Rahal out of turn 14.
11 seconds on the stop to Graham's 7.6. This is going to be an easy one for Graham Rahal. The question is Pato O'Ward going to get by the 45 as well? You see that orange and black McLaren at the right-hand side of your screen. He's going to get him.
What happened to the fuel fill?
That did not go to plan for the Hy-Vee Honda, and not only did it not go to plan, he's now lost second place as the Arrow McLaren Chevy of Pato O'Ward slides in there.
Should have taken 7.5, 8 seconds. Instead, over 10.
Here is Scott Dixon. He leads this race. He last pitted on lap 32. If the numbers work out and everything goes his way, this is not out of the realm of possibility for Dixon to win this race.
I mean, he surprised us once again, Hitch. I didn't think it was going to be possible, but once again, Scott Dixon has figured out how to go fast, save massive amounts of fuel. His lap times are totally competitive. He's got 6.5 seconds to Graham Rahal, and if he can go 1 or 2 more laps, he's good.
Not only is he good here, he set the record for the most consecutive starts. If he does manage to win today, it'll be his first win on the season, but it'll be the 19th consecutive year with a victory. He currently holds the record. He'd break his own record today if he was able to get that. So potentially a 2 records in 1, a nice twofer.
He's got to save a little bit of fuel to make it home, but might be this the day that Scott Dixon can extend that season win streak to 19. Final stop. You know the PNC Bank crew is almost always flawless. Can they get it done this time as well? They've got to get all the fuel in there as they can, and he is away.
Wow. Just remarkable. The gap he had over Graham Rahal when he came in there was just under 6 seconds, maybe 5.7 seconds. That's a big amount of time to make up. Dixon's so good at saving fuel and driving fast. Graham has a monumental task to close down over 5 seconds.
Shall we remind ourselves and everybody at home what happened to Scott Dixon on lap 1 of this race? If he were to go on and win, watch to your right, top screen, big box, lap 1 into turn 7, cars everywhere, and Dixon goes around.
He's going to get hit by Romain Grosjean, go all the way to the back of the field. And I promise you, at that moment, this field of 26 other drivers probably exhaled and thought, okay, well, at least Dixon's out of this
He's
now.
out of it.
But how many times has he appeared to be down and come back?
I got to be honest with you.
How many times?
I feel like at least half of his wins have come in conditions where you thought he was totally out of it.
And the pressure is now back on Graham Rahal and his team.
He had to. Scott Dixon was the fastest car on track. That gap was falling. He's still going to come out well behind the number 9. The 15 crew needs a fire stop, Dylan.
They do indeed, and they'll go to used reds here for their final run of the day. Wanted to keep Graham out there just a little bit longer, try and make this a short fill if they can. Small front wing change. We'll see how close the blend is.
There's Alex Palou on the right, the blue number 10, the American Legion car. He hasn't been serviced yet. He's looking for his stop there. He sees his team guys, gets out of the way of Rahal. Meanwhile, to the right is the bright orange and blue PNC Bank Honda. The 6-time champion, Scott Dixon, is going to cycle to the front.
With that sneaky little smirk on his face, he beat us all today. Didn't see this coming when Dixon had to pit on just lap 5 under yellow, but he is clear of Graham Rahal by probably 5 or 6 seconds. And Dixon set to do it again. Wow.
Here he is, Scott Dixon, 6-time series champion, Indianapolis 500 winner, and in this era of the sport, the best. The level of respect for this man is on a different level. Even our own James Hinchcliffe, who's a good friend of Scott Dixon's and a long-time competitor, said when I was a young guy, this guy was one of my heroes. And he's been a hero to many. Alex Palou has modeled himself off Scott Dixon. Young David Maluka said, I would like to be like Scott Dixon. So in this era, we talk about the greats of Mario Andretti and AJ Foyt. Supertex, by the way, is here today. But now in this era, we talk about Dixon, and for many years to come, people will look at what this guy has put on the board in the history of IndyCar and say, that's the mark. I want to be like that guy.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, this guy has just been so incredible for so long. You see that 319, just one ahead now. A good friend, fellow IndyCar champion, fellow Indy 500 winner Tony Kanaan at 318. Just such an impressive run for both these guys. And, you know, I hate to say it. I hate to say it and almost have him feel old when you say it, but he was a hero of mine. I mean, getting to share the racetrack with him was such an honor, going wheel to wheel with him. There's no better driver to do it. You know he's going to race you hard, but you know he's going to race you fair and clean.
And he told us on the radio when we talked to him before the start of this thing, I do it simply because I love racing. I don't think that's totally accurate. Scott Dixon loves winning. That's what he's chasing. Racing for these opportunities, the chance to remind everybody why he's the very best, maybe, of all time.
3.7 seconds between Dixon and Graham Rahal.
And I should correct myself, Hunter-Ray, a lap down to Dixon, but not a lap down to the field. And there's Graham. Here he comes.
There you go. Ryan Hunter-Ray doing the right thing, lifting off the throttle. Remember, he doesn't have to do that. I know Graham's upset, but that wasn't actually a requirement from Ryan. That was him being a pal, not wanting to get involved in this fight. And it's still only 1.6 seconds up to Scott Dixon. Scott didn't pull away when he got by Ryan.
But if you're the team, you got to calm your driver down. Tell Graham Rahal, listen, you can go smack runner Hunter-Ray around after the race. Let's keep two hands on the wheel and go get Dixon.
And they are almost level on push to pass. 39 seconds left for Dixon, 33 for Rahal. It's game on.
It is game on in a big way, guys. I'm surprised Scott didn't pull away more once he cleared the 20. Now it's nothing between Rahal and Dixon. He's following that flashing rear light. We're not sure why the rain light on the 9 has been illuminated. It's been like that since the start of the race and the contact.
I think it's probably from getting rear-ended from Romain Grosjean on the start. Kevin, what can you tell us about the 9 in terms of fuel he might need to save to make it to the end?
So I think they're going to be fine. One, because he's so good at it. When this stint started, he was told he could push hard for a couple of laps, then save me some you can use for later. But I would also say, and I often can tell by the urgency in voices, you're not going to be able to tell with Mike Hull and Scott Dixon. They are so calm all the time. So I think they're okay, but you never know.
But they might not be fast enough, Div. Graham Rahal once again 3/10 quicker than Dixon on that last lap. He can feel it, he can see it, and he can hear Scott Dixon's engine. He's getting that close.
1.1 seconds, 4 laps to go. Midfield straight, coming up to 7, coming up to the guy who passed Graham Rahal on the opening lap, Devlin DiFrancesco.
But again, crucially, Scott's now in that pocket of about 1 second where the dirty air that's coming off the back of Devlin DiFrancesco's car is affecting the handling of the number 9, which is already not as good as the 15. You can see the gap shrinking on the screen.
0.7 of a second, Dixon versus Rahal. This is going to be one of the classics on this road course.
Oh, look at Graham.
Rahal under brakes.
Superman deep on the brakes. Now Graham Rahal will have the draft down the longest straightaway on the road course schedule.
He's got to be patient. He's got to be smart. He only has 3 good hits of push to pass left. We see Devlin DiFrancesco moving out of the way. Great call from the driver of the 29. Now it is a straight fight. Best man wins with 3 laps to go.
Get him, buddy. They say, get him. That's the call to Graham Rahal. Yesterday, after winning pole position for the first time in 6 years, he said, it's nice to have it validated and to be reminded that I still belong. I still have a place in IndyCar. Well, Graham, you're just 3 laps away from maybe breaking a 6-year drought in victories.
And can you imagine if Graham wins this thing by tracking down and passing Scott Dixon straight up on the racetrack? That's a way to plant your pole.
He made the comment after qualifying, it's nice to feel like you belong in this series after getting a pole position in such a competitive environment at a track where the times are always so close. If he can back that up with a win, Graham, I promise you, buddy, you belong in this series. Little score to push to pass. You see the green lights illuminated on the side of the steering wheel dash.
35 place 32. Graham Rahal's most memorable win was at Mid-Ohio, but this could be even bigger. He's not fighting just anybody, he's fighting the man, the 6-time champion, Scott Dixon.
Dixon's getting squirrely coming onto the front straightaway there. I think Graham's going to have a great run right here, but I think Dixon...
Let's go get him.
2 laps to go, 5 miles to determine the winner of this Gallagher Grand Prix. Under the brakes into turn 1, still Dixon over Rahal. Here comes Graham though.
It's one thing to track down Scott Dixon, it's another thing to pass him when Dixon has another win in his sights. He is so clever about driving the car behind him. Dixon knows exactly what he needs to do to make it miserable for Graham Rahal.
The big key here is that Scott Dixon's done enough fuel saving earlier in this stint, which has been a lot longer than Graham, to be able to use that push to pass. 19 seconds for Rahal, 26 for Dixon. Kevin Lee.
They just told him position 1. My best guess is, like you said, he can turn up the wick. Let's see if he can gap Rahal a little bit.
Folks, we couldn't ask for it to be any better. NASCAR IndyCar crossover weekend, and the first of 3 races is a classic. We're going to have less than a 1-second margin with 1 lap to go between Scott Dixon and Graham Rahal.
Oh, Graham got a little bit wide there through turn 13. It's going to be tough for him to find the draft. White flag.
This is the key overtaking point.
White flag, let's keep the pressure on him. Make him earn this one.
Make him earn this one, they say to Graham Rahal. However, and to Scott Dixon, can he sustain the pressure? Or has Rahal got something special over there in turn 7? That midfield straight into the left-hander and the key overtaking point.
Big, long radius corner here, turn 4. It really challenges all 4 Firestones, but Dixon still with the gap through the chicane. They come down to turn 7. Rahal still not close enough for a lunge.
It was a year ago at Nashville where Scott Dixon separated himself from Mario Andretti to move into 2nd overall all-time on the wins list. Now look at this. Graham Rahal says, I'm not sure if I'm going to let you win in a 19th season. I want this win, but it's not going to come easy. Dixon into turn 12. Rahal is throwing everything at it, but the overtaking opportunities have run out. What a comeback from Scott Dixon after spinning on the opening lap. And in 19 consecutive seasons, Scott Dixon is going to be a winner again. Spin to win. Dixon has done it at Indy. Spinning on the opening lap to seeing the yard of bricks first. Nothing is too big for Scott Dixon in the IndyCar Series.
And if you're Graham Rahal, you just have to throw up your hands. He did everything right today. He beat his teammate. He beat Arrow McLaren. And this is going to be frustrating. Great drive.
Look at that. Great sportsmanship there, giving the thumbs up to Scott.
And huge respect. He knows he's witnessing greatness right in front of him.
Good job, boys.
Well,
I'm sorry, I lost.
Danny Sullivan did it on the big track. Scott Dixon's done it on the road course.
Miracle on dirt in Portland, the miracle on grass today.
54th career win, second only to AJ Foyt. And that one there shows the mastery of Scott Dixon, Mike Hull, the engineering staff, Chip Ganassi Racing. Never count this guy out in his 319th consecutive start, the most ever in the history. He caps it off with a win. What a day for the PNC Bank Honda of Scott Dixon. In a collision on the opening lap to the podium, and wife Emma and the three kids, Poppy, Tilly, and Kit, are there to see Dad's brilliant work. How about that? It was a year ago in Nashville when he was at the back of the field and he just had the look of shock and disbelief on his face that he was able to do what he did. I think there might be that look again today, just to say, how did we pull that off from being on the grass and spun around on the opening lap to being up on the lift and going up onto the podium at the world's most famous racetrack. There's Chip Ganassi. Scott is the most tenured, most successful driver in the history of Chip Ganassi Racing. And there's his two bosses, Chip and Mike Hull. They're like, you did it again. Are you two speechless?
Yes. I was going to say, this guy born to do this. I mean, from the earliest age, a winner in everything he's driven. His parents risked everything to bring him to the United States, race in the Indy Lights Championship, win the championship, get to IndyCar, and his longevity that we've talked about in consecutive starts, his wins across different chassis, different manufacturers, different eras of IndyCar. It's just remarkable, and to have accomplished all of that and be at his age and still dominate like he did today is just leaves you speechless.
You know, Diff says he's going to get out with this look of surprise and shock. How do we do it? No, he's not. They do it all the time. This is half of Scott Dixon's wins have come in situations like this. This group is so good at pulling off those wins that aren't just those kind of classic start 10th and carve your way through the field. It is meticulous. It is well-executed strategy. That man on the left, Mike Hull, he's the key to it.
It's the checkered flag moment, brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. The Iceman has done it again.
Oh my God, you're so wet.
Thank you.
It's hot, okay? Hot.
Win number 54 makes it 19 consecutive seasons. Scott Dixon has won a race. There's only one person that has more wins and more championships, and his name is A.J. Foyt. You've had some improbable wins before. That one in Portland a few years ago through the dust comes to mind. But you've done a spin and win to win at Indy. How did you do it?
Yeah, that was crazy. Huge credit to the team. You know, we weren't sure even on the first run there. I will say I had a fantastic start. I think I got up to like 8th or 9th and then got T-boned in turn 7 there. But huge credit to the team. You know, it's been a trying year for us, just where things could have rolled our way, they haven't, but they never give up. So big thank you to everybody on the PNC bag number 9. Honda was amazing today. It was so fun driving my Honda out there today, getting the fuel mileage, cruising along, and, you know, fantastic pace. The only problem there towards the end, I think on my outlaps, I pushed it too hard to kind of create that gap on Graham, and unfortunately burnt the tires off a little bit. So it was pretty sketchy at the end, but we tried to put on a show for everyone.
We're more into the numbers than you are, but today you are the Iron Man. This is your 319th consecutive start, and you've won 19 seasons in a row. What's the significance?
What a day to win on, you know, and it makes it so fun, especially for, you know, this little guy. He gets to see it. It's been a little while since I've had a win, almost, well, probably over a year since last year. So, you know, it makes it worthwhile, and, you know, we're going to keep on trying to win 320.
Did you start to wonder if it was going to come this year?
You always have doubt. You know, that's the unfortunate part of the business. But, you know, I know working with this group, it's just amazing. And Jeff steers this ship, man, and he steers it well, so it's cool to be here.
And we know he likes winners, and this man is definitely a winner. Congratulations. Scott Dixon has won again at Indianapolis.
Ganassi in the headlines. Chip Ganassi racing for all kinds of reasons, but mostly this victory. 10 IndyCar championships between those two legends, Scott Dixon and Dario Franchitti. The best of friends. Both know what winning's like. It's Dixon's day. Xfinity Series coming up right here on USA, and we're going to go early too. The guys will be coming up in just a few moments' time. NASCAR Xfinity Series in the Pennzoil 150 presented by Advance Auto Parts. Look at that, that's Mr. Pat Gallagher there on the right, the man behind the name of the presenting sponsor of the Gallagher Grand Prix, presenting Scott Dixon with the trophy on an amazing day.
Good to go back west. At the end. Next year, though, it'll be Nashville. This year, again, Laguna Seca, a place Scott Dixon and Chip Ganassi Racing. They know how to go fast there, too, but so does Team Penske. Today, though, Dixon reminding all of us, Hinch. I mean, at the start, I thought, oh, well, tough day for Dixon. It won't be today, but he just continues to kind of just scoff, laugh in the face of adversity and figure out a way to get it done.
Here's what's so impressive about Scott Dixon at this moment. You look at the fact he just jumped up to second in the championship. That was his first win of the season with only 3 to go. Joseph Newgarden, who he just passed, has won 4 races. The consistency out of this guy, even when things aren't great, when the ultimate pace isn't there, when they're having a bad weekend, he knocks off those 3rds, he knocks off those 7ths, he knocks off those 10ths, and that's what builds a solid championship run.
Would you call him the icy Iron Man at the start of this thing?
I can't remember, but you can call him whatever you like. He's got all the runs on the board, hasn't he? You know, second only to A.J. Foyt in race wins and championships.
You can call him the GOAT, is what you can call him. Scott Dixon is definitely in a conversation for for the greatest IndyCar driver of all time.
And just so composed there and such great belief. So that wraps up the IndyCar portion of this fun crossover weekend. Hey, Marty Snyder, the stage is set. Xfinity's up next. Have fun, mate.